Yeah, Kichiwa. Yeah, what's good? What's good? This Redbird. Yeah, hope you're having a, wonderful day today, or wonderful evening, I should say. It was nighttime right now. But yeah, man, I just had to come back and, back with this, bird series. This is part 3. My apologies to my subscribers and, excuse me, everybody listening. The only reason I'm, just apologizing a little bit is because I've been meant, do these videos back to back. I was trying to be possibly done by now, with this series. But this chapter 3, y'all can just, bear with me, rock with me. I'm going to be dropping them until, finish with the book and everything. And I just want to say, appreciate y'all's support. Big up to the Most High, shout out to the originals, the true Americans, Yeah, thank y'all for your support, and another thing too, this is just a little side note, but I just want to give a, big shout out, much respect and love to John Witherspoon, and condolences to his family, and I didn't do a video about John Witherspoon, but it was a lot of other content creators, doing videos, and I watched them. I appreciated, the things they said about him because me personally, I was seeing all the Fridays, he was always funny on Friday, of course, and I love him as Grandpa in Boondocks, it's awesome in Boondocks. He was awesome, because Boondocks is one of my favorite shows, period, and my favorite, number one favorite character from him, personally that I can say from John Witherspoon, the most favorite character of mine of John Witherspoon is Pops Williams from the Wayans Brothers show. I still watch the show, the reruns, and just so funny, man, just, it's hilarious, I love Pops Williams, that character, because, Sean and Marlon, of course, they're the funniest ones up there, but Pops was so, I love D2, all the characters up there, TC, everybody, but Pops was just unique in his own way, the way he dressed, the little sayings, and then y'all already know, stuff like that, don't tell nobody, that was just funny to me, man. I love the character, man. It's just so hilarious, But, yeah, much respect to John Witherspoon, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and appreciate him, for all he done. Much love to him, and I should thanks to him for the laughs. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm gonna get into this book. This book is called Familiar Birds of North America East, and this is part 3 of this bird series. And I left off reading about the American black duck, and I'm gonna pick up where I left off at, and because something happened with my phone and everything, the time went up. But I was reading this part of the sentence right here, and I'm gonna pick up from the word small. Small groups of black ducks are often seen among large flocks of mallards, and the two species regularly interbreed. Where they occur together, the mallard can be distinguished by its orange, malted bill, and paler plumage. Identification of the American black duck is 19 to 22 inches, sooty brown with white wing linings, conspicuous in flight, head and neck slightly paler brown than rest of body. Wings have purple speculum, legs red, bill greenish. Sexes alike. Voice: female gives a quack, almost indistinguishable from female mallards. Male utters softer call notes. Habitat: marshes, mud flats, streams, and lakes. and also with Stories. That's Estuaries. Range breeds from North Alberta to Newfoundland, south to Minnesota and Virginia. Winters from southern part of breeding range to northern Gulf Coast. Okay, yeah, this next bird is the Canada goose. The Canada goose is familiar and widespread throughout North America. These birds migrate in large, wavy V formations, piercing the air with their far-carrying musical honk. Mated pairs stay together for many years, and their young remain with them until the family returns to the nesting grounds in spring. Birds always return to the same area to breed, and several distinct races have developed. Identification of the Canada goose is large races 32 to 48 inches, small races 22 to 27 inches. Brownish gray body and wings with long black neck and black head, distinctive white cheek patch usually extends under throat. Belly and flanks white, bill and legs black. The voice, larger races give a resounding oh wonk. Small races cackle a high onk. Habitat: lakes, rivers, marshes, and bays, often in harvested cornfields and grasslands. Range: breeds from North Alaska to Baffin Island, south to New East California, Missouri, and Ohio. Winters from southern part of breeding range to Mexico and Gulf Coast. Okay, this next bird is the Doublecrested Cormorant. Cormorant is spelled Cormorant. Yeah, I never heard of this bird either at all, This dark, long-necked water bird is often seen perched on a log or rock with its wings outspread. Cormorants lack adequate waterproofing oils in their plumage, and they must periodically dry their wings in the sun. Cormorants are heavy-bodied diving birds that must paddle across the water's surface to gain momentum when taking flight. Identification of the double-crested cormorant is 30 to 36 inches long. Adults black with bare patch of orange skin beneath bill. Breeding adults have small tufts on each side of crown. Immatures brownish, paler on breast. Bill long, straight with hook tip and plumages in all plumages. Voice: grunting calls near nesting colony, usually silent. Habitat: lakes, rivers, and seashores. Range: in the east. Breeds from, this word right here is, if anybody can pronounce this word is spelled Saskatchewan. And that's from there to Nebraska, eastward through Great Lakes region and Gulf of St. Lawrence, also along Atlantic, Pacific, and Gulf Coast. Winters from Long Island to Florida and Gulf Coast, and along Mississippi River and Rio Grande. Okay, this next bird is called the brown pelican. Okay, this large bird is often seen in an attitude of repose, resting its head and huge bill on its breast. The prominent throat pouch allows the bird to scoop up a large mouthful of seawater and separate out the fish. The brown pelican performs spectacular dives, plunging from the air straight down into the water in pursuit of its prey. The American white pelican, a larger relative, searches for a fish as it swims through the water, often holding its wings open to block out the sun and reduce the glare from the water's surface. Identification of the brown pelican is 45 to 54 inches. Adults are stocky and dark brown with massive bill and throat pouch and whitish head. Breeding birds have cinnamon brown on back of neck. Young birds have dull brown heads. Voice, adult silent, nestling, squeal, and grunt. Habitat, bays, beaches, estuaries, and lagoons. Range, in the east, breeds locally along coasts from North Carolina to Florida. Also on Pacific coast, occasionally wanders northward. Okay, the next bird is the great egret. This large, magnificent heron is often seen in shallow water, where it stalks its prey slowly and deliberately. It feeds on a variety of aquatic and marsh-dwelling creatures, including fish, crayfish, frogs, and even snakes. At the turn of the century, fashion required that hats be decorated with plumes, and this species was nearly exterminated as a consequence of the unguarded enthusiasm of stylish ladies. It is now protected by law, but faces an equally serious threat to its existence as a result of the draining of its wetland habitat. Identification of the great egret is 37 to 41 inches, large, white, yellow bill, long black legs. Breeding adults sport long, lacy white plumes on back. The voice is a low, guttural growl or croak. Habitat, fresh water and saltwater marshes, marshy ponds or lake borders, lagoons, and tidal flats. Range, in the east, breeds from Minnesota and South Ontario to Texas and Louisiana, along Atlantic from Long Island to Georgia and Florida. Also in the far west, winters from North Carolina south and in Texas and the southwest. Okay, this next bird is the great blue heron, the largest heron in North America. The great blue stands 4 feet tall and has a wingspan of 7 feet. The great white heron, for years believed to be a distinct species, is actually a form or color phase of this species. The great blue heron is often seen standing perfectly still in shallow water, where it waits for fish or frogs to come within range of its long, sharp-pointed bill. The identification of a great blue heron is 39 to 52 inches, large gray blue with long yellowish bill, head white with black on crown and nape, legs dark, immature, similar to adult but paler with all black crown. Great white heron, all white with yellowish bill and legs. Voice, a harsh croak, usually silent. Habitat, lakes, rivers, marshes, and ponds. Range, breeds throughout United States and Canada except for deserts and high mountains. Winters throughout most of southern half of the United States and along coast north to New England and South Alaska. Okay, this next bird is the turkey vulture. Also known as the turkey buzzard, this large carrion feeder is commonly seen sailing over open countryside or gliding along on shifting currents of air as it searches for food. In flight, the turkey vulture holds its wings in a slight V above the body, and its outer wing tips spread wide like the fingers of a hand. At dusk, turkey vultures often gather to roost in large numbers. The identification of the turkey vulture is 26 to 32 inches long, large and blackish with small, unfeathered red head and stout bill with sharply hooked tip. Legs and feet orange, silvery gray wing linings conspicuous in flight, making wings appear two-toned. Immature has dark head and gray feet. Voice generally silent, utters hisses and groans at nest or when disturbed. Habitat dry, open country, often along roadsides, sometimes roosting in woods. Range breeds from South British Columbia to South New England, south to Mexico, winters from New Jersey to Florida and East Texas, also in parts of the Southwest. Yeah, one of my favorite birds here, the bald eagle. Okay, in 1782, when the bald eagle was chosen as a symbol of the United States, Benjamin Franklin protested. He considered this eagle a bird of bad moral character and recommended that the young nation adopt the wild turkey instead. The bald eagle once bred throughout North America, but its numbers have declined severely as a result of pesticide poisoning. Today, some of these pesticides have been banned, and the species seem to be making a modest comeback. Identification of the bald eagle is 30 to 43 inches long, very large, brown, hawk-like bird with white head and tail and stout hooked yellow bill. Immatures variable, but with dark head and tail and black bill. Oh yeah, another thing too about the bald eagle. Not too long ago, I think it was might have been last week or something. But I was working and everything at at my job or whatever, and I remember my employer telling me and my coworkers, look at this bird, look at this eagle, that was on top of an electric pole, and this pole is like, I say it's about the height of like a real tall building. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really tall like that. Almost probably, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the height of a building in Manhattan. Because I've been in Manhattan before one time, but it was real tall like that, and the eagle was literally sitting on top of that, the electric pole. My employer showed me and my coworkers, and I know my employer was just so fascinated by the eagle, because it was just, real beautiful, real large, you know what I'm saying? So seeing that was like so dope, But the voice of the bald eagle is a series of squeaky, thin cackling or chittering notes. Habitat: seacoast, lakes, rivers, and marshes. Range: breeds in forested areas of Alaska and Canada, south to Oregon, North Idaho, Great Lakes area, and North New England, also locally along Atlantic and Gulf Coast and in Florida. Winters from South Canada, south especially along major river systems of the interior. His next bird is the Osprey. This large bird of prey is most often seen near water. It feeds chiefly on fish, which it captures with its large talons after plunging feet first into the water. Like the bald eagle, the osprey has suffered a decline because it consumes fish contaminated with toxic chemicals. Ospreys build large, rough-looking stick nests in dead trees, and they are quick to take advantage of man-made platforms and telephone poles for their nesting needs. Identification of the osprey is 22 to 25 inches long, large, hawk-like brown above, white below, with white head, dark brown line runs through eye and side of face. Juvenile similar but more malted. In flight, wings show distinctive bend at wrist. Voice: loud, whistling, and chirping given at nesting and during courtship. Also a kip, kiyak when alarmed. Habitat: coastal areas, lakes, and rivers. Range: breeds from Alaska and north central Canada to Newfoundland, south to California and Arizona, Great Lakes area, and Nova Scotia, south along Atlantic coast to Florida and Gulf Coast. Winters on southern coast. Okay, this next bird is the northern harrier, which I love. You know, these kind of birds. You know, yeah, because this bird is from the hawk species, you know, of birds. Now, formerly known as the marsh hawk, this species is the only North American representative of the harriers, a large, diverse group of mainly Old World hawks. The northern harrier has very keen hearing, augmented by its disc-shaped facial feathers. It hunts on the wing with its ears attuned to detect the slightest rustle in the grass or marshland below. Identification of the northern harrier is 16 to 24 inches long, slim with long wings and tail. Male light gray above, whitish with small reddish flecks below. Tail obscurely barred. Female brown above with brownish streaks below. Both sexes have prominent white rump, immature brown above, rusty below. Voice usually silent and chattering kee near nest. Habitat grasslands, marshes, and open fields. Range breeds from Alaska to North Alberta and east to Newfoundland, south to South California, North New Mexico, Ohio, and Virginia. Winters from Washington, North Utah, Great Lakes region, and Newfoundland, and New England, south to Mexico and Florida. Hey, it's one of my favorite birds here, you know what I'm saying? This bird is the red-tailed hawk, and there's a couple of, you know what I'm saying, aboriginals that have this name, and I think this is one of the most beautiful and dopest birds in the bird species, you know what I'm saying. The name is also dope too, you know. But the red-tailed hawk is the most abundant large hawk throughout much of North America. However, it is highly variable in color, and there are several distinct subspecies that may be difficult to identify. In general, the red tail appears stocky and broad-winged and usually has a dark head. Unlike the similar broad-winged and Swanson's hawks, the red tail does not usually fly in large flocks. The identification of the red-tailed hawk is 19 to 25 inches long, large, typical bird, dark brown above, usually light below with dark band on belly. Tail rufous with dark band and paler tip. Geographical variations include a dark brown color phase and a pale phase with a white tail. Immature has grayish tail with narrow bands. Voice a large, harsh, descending tier. This is T-S-E-R, given when disturbed. Habitat grasslands, pastures, open woods, and farmlands, also in plains, tundra, and deserts with scattered trees. Range breeds throughout most of North America, winters from Canadian border south. Yeah, it's another bird that's real dope too. The American Crustal, formerly known as the sparrow hawk. The American Crustal is the smallest North American falcon. Widely distributed, it is seen hunting from perches or on the wing. It sometimes hovers in the air before descending in a swift, stooping dive to take its prey. The American Crustal has proved adaptable in the face of development, and it even nests in suburbs and big cities. Identification of the American Crustal is 7.5 to 8 inches large, Small with long pointed wings and rusty tail and back. Adult male has blue, gray wings and rusty crown. Female has black barred rufous wings, underparts white or buff. Males with black spots, females with heavy streaks. Voice a loud, shrill, killy, killy, killy. Habitat, open countryside, grasslands, farms, suburbs, and city parks. Range, South Alaska to Newfoundland, south through South America. Winters north as far as South British Columbia, Illinois, and New England. Another dope bird, the common nighthawk. In the east, the common nighthawk often nests in settled areas, and it seems to prefer flat, gravely rooftops at the start of the mating season. Male nighthawks flutter over the rooftops, giving their buzzy bzirp or burp call. Then they dive straight down, and as they plummet, the air whistling through their wings creates a sudden, explosive boom. The identification of the common nighthawk is 8.5 to 10 inches, malted gray, white, black, and brown above underparts, buff with brown bars. Long pointed wings marked with white patch near bend, visible in flight as is white throat patch. Tail long, female slightly duller than male. Voice a nasal, insect-like burp or burp. Habitat, open woodlands, forests, meadows, sagebrush plains, and cities. Range, breeze from southeast Alaska, east to Quebec, south to North Carolina, south to North California, Nevada, southeast New Mexico, Texas, and Florida. Winters in the tropics. His next bird is an owl, actually. Let me see, it's the common barn owl. Because of some unusual skeletal features, the common barn owl has been placed in a separate family from other North American owls. Like the typical owls, it has extremely sensitive hearing. The common barn owl, in fact, was used to prove that owls can locate prey in total darkness solely by the use of their hearing. Identification of a common barn owl is 14 inches long, golden brown above with grayish malting on wings and back, pale buff to white below with sparse dark spots on breast and wing linings. Face heart-shaped white with long narrow bill. Feet and legs covered with bristly white feathers. Voice, song, a long rasping screech, increasing in volume and a loud hiss. Habitat, farm areas, marshes, prairies, and open woodlands, also suburbs and cities. Range, southwest British Columbia, South Dakota, North Illinois, and South New England, south to Central and South America. Some northern populations move south in winter. Here's another owl here too. This next owl is the great horned owl. This powerful nocturnal bird of prey is the largest North American eared owl. Its diet includes large animals such as skunks, ducks, possums, and even hawks. Wow. Like other owls, the great horn has keen night vision, an acute hearing that is enhanced by facial disc, feathers that encircle the eyes and direct sound to their ears, enabling the bird to hear the rustle of a mouse in a cornfield. This adaptable owl is found in almost any habitat. It is often seen perched on dead trees or telephone poles in the early evening, searching for prey. Identification of the great horned owl is 18 to 25 inches long, large with widely spaced ear tufts, dark gray-brown with fine whitish molting above, buff white below with dark brown berry and white throat, eyes bright yellow. The voice, a deep, sonorous, resonant series of hoots. Hoo 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 hoo. Habitat: forests, open country, swamps, deserts, and even large city parks. Range throughout North America, usually does not migrate. Yeah, so this bird is the great horned owl bird is predominantly in America, North America. Okay, this next bird is also another owl, and this bird is called the Eastern Screech Owl. This little owl of the east can be recognized by its ear tufts. Other small owls in its range are earless. Despite its size, the Eastern Screech Owl can be aggressive, and it has been known to strike people on the head when they unwittingly approach its nest. By day, Eastern Screech Owls often assume a frozen, upright posture, relying on their molted plumage for camouflage. This bird and the nearly identical Western Screech Owl were formerly believed to be a single species. Their ranges overlap only in a small area of Texas, where they must be distinguished by voice. Identification of the Eastern Screech Owl is 7 to 10 inches, small with molted upper parts, and prominent ear tufts, whitish below, with screech and bars, two color phases, grayish and rufous, with brownish intermediates. Voice: a long, tremulous, descending whining, also short barks and soft purrs. Habitat: forests, woodlands, suburbs, and farms. Range: North Minnesota, Canada east to North New England, and south to Texas and Florida. Okay, this let's see. Next bird is called the Ringneck pheasant. Introduced from Asia, the ringneck pheasant has taken its adopted home so well that it has become our most abundant upland game bird. With its colorful plumage and overall chicken-like appearance, this bird is easy to recognize. Very tolerant of man, it is often found near towns and cities. This pheasant is a fast runner. When it flies, it takes off with a startling flurry of sound. Identification of the ringneck pheasant: male 30 to 36 inches long, female 20 to 26 inches long.